Jason Bolalek is a modern-day hero. After visiting a local organic small family dairy farm in Vermont, he not only went vegan overnight, but he rescued 2 male calves who were destined for slaughter. This singular act of kindness blossomed into Destination Liberation, essentially a one-man rescue organization that connects male dairy calves with sanctuaries and adopters. Jason nestles 2 calves at a time into the back of his hay-lined car and drives them for hours to their new home. When we learned about Jason's life-saving work and saw the adorable photos of calves and cars, we knew we had to have him on the podcast. But before you load your Camry with a cow, let's hear about the logistics from Jason. Jason Bolalek, welcome to Switch for Good. So let's start from, if you could tell us a little bit about your vegetarian and then vegan journey.
Sure. I went vegetarian in my 30s after seeing videos online that really had a profound impact on me. And I think that was probably the start to understanding the power that social media has. And I didn't put all the pieces together at the time, but I saw some videos of what happens to piglets. And when I saw the videos, I just couldn't bring myself to eat meat anymore at all. I gave it up. And later on, moving to Vermont, years later, I started to connect more of the dots when I heard a story about what happens to male calves here in Vermont. And at first I was in disbelief, but the more I heard, the more I realized this isn't just a rumor, this is happening. And then one thing led to another, and I was able to meet with a dairy farmer who I was introduced to. And my whole intention at the time was just to save 2, because I thought if this is really happening, if they're really killing the babies and making compost out of them, then why not save a couple? So I met with the farmer, I went in his farm, and that was it. I mean, there was no question that it was an enlightenment right then and there. I couldn't participate and fund that. I just, it was an awakening.
Mm-hmm. In between wanting to save them and then, so I went to meet with a farmer. There's a gap there that I think that we would be fascinated by. I mean, how did you garner the courage? How did you decide where, who? It seems like it wouldn't be easy just to walk into any old dairy farm and say, "Hey, I want to save you from murdering baby calves." How did you decide to pick this specific farmer, and what did you say when you walked in?
Well, it was just happenstance. Really, it was my friend who told me the story. He knew of a farmer that might be willing to surrender some babies. So it was really him that connected us. And his name is Joe. And Joe went and met with the farmer and talked about it first. So it was already in place when I went to the farm to finally meet him and then basically see the farm. They weren't guarded. They were very friendly and open. And I had no idea what I was really walking into, having never been in a farm. So yeah, that's the first piece of the puzzle that actually, it was happenstance. It was the doors opened for me, so to speak.
And what did you notice when you walked in? I mean, you'd never been in one before. What can you help our listeners know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like? What were some of the first things that you thought, "Oh wow, wasn't expecting that"?
The one thing that has always stuck with me about that first experience was the clanking of the chains that the little babies were on. Because they have different staging areas where you have your mothers being milked, and then you have another stage where there's younger females that aren't ready to give birth yet. They're not even ready to be impregnated yet. So they're just waiting. And they were in an area, and they were all in individual I mean, I like to call them cells because that's what they were. I mean, they could see each other, but they all were connected to a chain rack, and the clanking of the chains, that has always stayed with me. Now this farm in particular, they let the cows go out and graze at times, but they spend a lot of their life, especially in the winter, connected to that chain rack. And that always stayed with me. It was the clanking of the chains.
So thank you so much for tuning in today. If we helped you in any way, then click the subscribe button and let's keep hanging out together. We have so much more to share with you.
And if you need more information on actually making the switch for good, please visit us at switchforgood.org for loads of info. And you can subscribe to our mailing list where you will receive all sorts of super cool gifts, discount codes to our very fave dairy-free products, and a lifetime of powerful health tips.
So join us on the journey to switch for good. This is the future.